All right, I see a lantern or something on a shepherd's hook. Is that what we want?
It's the hummingbird feeder.
Okay, well, I see that.
No, I'm en route. But I'm en route.
En route to what?
Gee,
Yeah, so I'm not getting any, I mean, it's not
is
giving
it
us any
breaking
video at
up?
all.
Really?
Yeah,
Huh. Okay. Well, that's a limit. I'm behind the house, so it doesn't work there. Surprised you can still hear me.
well, it's kind of garbly, but I'm a professional.
All right. I guess I have to be near the studio
Well, I think
for
you don't
cell
have to be near
service.
the studio, you just need to not be behind a building. If you go out in the,
We mostly don't have cell
go out,
service
if you go out in the
at the
open,
house.
like
So,
in front of the studio, probably.
yeah, that's where I'm headed. Can you see anything now?
No, turn your video
Huh.
off and then turn it back on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not working at all.
Mhm. Welcome to my world with cell service.
Well, you don't actually think it's gonna be better in the woods, do you?
It just depends where there are spots, I guess. I mean, I don't know why mine would be any worse than anybody else's.
What, your service or what?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I mean, you're surrounded on three sides by mountains with no tower nearby, so
Mm,
you know, I mean,
I suppose.
you're kind of in a spot, you know.
All right. Now, this is where I was the other night. Can you see anything?
Nothing. You got a blank screen.
Well, there's something wrong then, besides me, because this is where I was the other night.
Well, no, I mean the cell
Hmm.
service could be different because the weather's different.
Oh, I suppose. Well, that's a limitation then, isn't it? Still a black screen? Because I mean, I can see it, but
Well, yeah, you can see it because you're seeing the camera, but it's not coming across on the cell feed.
hmm, do you think I should get off and get back on?
Well, just stand in the same place and get off and get back on
I
with the
am.
Wi-Fi, and then see. I bet it clears. I mean, I bet it works.
Try Wi-Fi, you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay.
and check and see when you disconnect. Just see how many bars you have. Okay, you're vertical.
So because I didn't even change the way I was holding it. And it,
Okay, now you're horizontal.
can you see anything?
Yeah, I see the pine tree or spruce, whatever that is. And are
Oh,
you on Wi-Fi right now?
no.
You're
Yes, this is Wi-Fi.
okay, because it's a lot jankier than it was a while ago. So
The
it
Wi-Fi.
yeah, it's this looks sort of like it did the other night.
Hmm.
And what I'm seeing is like you got sort of a crescent shape of light, and the rest of the screen is black.
Hmm.
What light are you using?
Yours,
Yeah.
the one, the one you had from Walmart.
Did you do one click on it or two or three? Because it adjusts the intensity. I was wondering if it's on the lowest or the highest.
Oh, I didn't know I could adjust it. I thought it was just on or off.
No, I think if it
So,
so just click it once again, and it should change the intensity. Yeah, see, that's way too hot.
hmm.
Oh no, that looks
Oh,
good on YouTube
let me
though.
see.
The color saturation on YouTube's different. It's like it has a color correction or something.
Uh, so it's breaking up the way it looks good.
Uh, well, your lighting's problematic, but um,
Because it's too
well,
intense.
no, just the way, however you're holding it. Now I see. I guess it's John's truck. Like if you, um, how to describe this? So if you divided the screen, see now I'm seeing the whole screen, but now I'm seeing just like a crescent on the top right. I mean top left, and now the crescent's getting bigger. Yeah, so I mean that when you have it the light in the right spot, then it begins to look kind of like it did the other night. But for the most part, I mean you'll be able to see in the recording. I mean, like that little bit right there, I thought was good, but mostly it's not doing much for me. There, what you're doing right now looks pretty good. Just stop right there. Don't move it anymore. Let YouTube catch up. I want to see what it looks like. I mean, that's probably, I mean, that might be what you're aiming at. Um, But another thing is, and this is um, just what I notice in your videos, the nighttime videos, and even the ones you've edited. A lot of times it looks like you're just waving the camera around randomly, and it doesn't kind of make any sense. And I thought about that a lot. And if you think about doing video, usually the camera is stationary and the subject is what's moving. So it's backwards. You understand what I'm saying? Which I find disorienting. Um,
Say that again.
so usually in video, unless you're doing a panning shot or something and following a subject, usually the camera is framed and the motion comes from the subject, not from the camera. And when you do video, all the motion is either coming from the camera or from effects that you're putting on. So it looks like the image I get in my mind is that you're standing there and just, you know, waving the camera around in circles or back and forth or something like that. You know, to give the effect of motion when there isn't any motion. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the nighttime ones in particular.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that was on purpose because of this being such a disorienting time. I was actually trying to make it feel disorienting.
Okay, well, you're succeeding.
Okay, so for this, you would rather have it not be that way.
Well, I don't know because this is different than what you were doing the other night. Because that little bit the other night when it was on the cell was kind of interesting. Um, but this, like right now, I'm looking at it, and 2/3 of the screen is black. And the
Oh, I'm walking.
okay, and I think you probably man, it looks better on YouTube than it does on the feed. They must be doing some kind of correction. Um,
What looks better, the color
yeah,
or what?
yeah,
Mm.
the color. Um, I mean, there's more. I don't know, maybe saturation or something. This looks fatter. You know, I like it. I like the way it looks on YouTube. Um, but what I was going to say is, I think you need to come up with a better light source and just how to manage it better.
To what end?
Well, if you're, I don't know how to articulate it except that, like, if I saw this in a gallery, I'd look at it for 5 seconds and walk away from it. Because it doesn't. It's not. I don't know. It just doesn't draw me in. But I mean, it's whatever. That's just my opinion in response to it. It's whatever you want is what you should do. So this will be super helpful for you to look at this. So this video, the part that we're recording now, is long because the first part I didn't split between when you were on the cell and when you were on the Wi-Fi, but you'll be able to tell because we were talking about it.
Hmm.
But so the way that's moving now, I find more compelling. I think it's when, in watching it, I think it's when it's moving back and forth across the same field that
Hmm.
that I don't like. Um, that I feel like it should always be progressing. Like you should never back up. You know what I mean? Unless there's a
Yeah.
particular reason. Hang on, I gotta let Gary out. I'll be right back. So just keep doing your thing. I gotta take Dougie out too, but keep doing like try try. I think Gary, quiet. Um, I so I was thinking the back and forth doesn't work for me, and I was thinking, oh well, linear progression, but then that's sort of a narrative effect, and if you wanted it to be non-linear and non-narrative, or maybe like a circular path, like so you have a beginning and you circle all the way around and you end up at the beginning, if that makes sense. Um, or if you want to reverse, then it needs to be really deliberate and with intent, not just it. I think the feeling I got was it was just jagged and it had no sense. See that little bit of breeze right now where they're moving, that looks good. When you're holding the camera still and the plants are moving, that's really nice. So I'll be right back. We're just gonna step out the door. And the shadow's nice too. So stepping away, this is really pretty what you're doing now. Uh, Stepping away gave me time. So when you're just moving the camera around to get motion, that feels forced. And I thought about it like when you see clouds moving across the sky, they go in one direction and there's a rhythm and a flow to it. So um, I I think that's I think the not backing up is the thing.
Well, I think for Sunday I'll make a path through the field
Uh huh.
because I'm stuck in like a 3 foot square area unless I feel really adventuresome, and I'm sure the field is full of snakes. So
Well, welcome to
I think
working
if
in
I
the
cut,
great outdoors.
I think if I cut a path,
it looks it looks good.
but is it breaking up?
No, your cell service just must be really bad tonight because it wasn't. I mean, it wouldn't move video at all.
Mm, I'm surprised the Wi-Fi is working.
Well,
All right. Well, I guess some food to think about.
yeah. I mean, and that's just all. Um, Keep in mind, it's just all my opinion. It,
Well, I think that I mean, your opinions, I appreciate your opinion. I think that there's a fine line between something being interesting and straight documentary. I mean, I guess between being straight documentary and being poetic.
mm-hmm.
And so that's why I've been trying other things, because I feel like most of the stuff before was more documentary.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, I think maybe a way to help you get to it is just just make a whole lot of clips and keep a good record of what it is you're doing. Like I mean, literally go out there with 5 or 6 specific tasks. Say, okay, I'm going to go out and do 1 minute with the thing moving diagonally, and I'm going to do 1 minute with the thing moving horizontally, and then I'm going to do 1 minute with the thing moving horizontally back and forth, and then I'm gonna do a minute with the thing moving up, and then I'm gonna do a minute with the thing moving down, and then I'm gonna do a thing with the thing moving up and down, and just make a whole bunch of that, and just then sit there and watch it on your screen and just like intuit what interests you, and you can't you can't consider, and you shouldn't consider what you think may interest anybody else. You got to be all in on what interests you, because if you do anything else, it's not going to work at all, because it's just not going to be you. Um, so, I mean, I've made in the last 2 months hundreds of little videos, and I sit there and watch them, and I've done hundreds of pieces of sound, and just, I've easily spent on Ableton and OBS itself. I've spent hundreds of hours on it. I mean, I just in the last since June, um, and I didn't even get Ableton until the middle of July. So I mean, but a lot of it is just like you do it and you look at it and you go, oh, I kind of like that, but you got to know why you like it, and then you also just toss away the stuff you don't like to start just piecing together that puzzle in your head. But I mean, that's why I said maybe instead of coming up with more and more ideas, just stop with what you got and just work it and work it and work it and see. Like just as something as simple as using, let's see, because you can't record. I was gonna say you can't. Are you sure you can't record on a paid? I mean, a free account? Let me look that up.
Yeah,
Did you look
I
that?
looked into
Okay.
it. Yeah,
Um. So that's a drag because that would be an easy way. Because I was going to say the you know I
to
think that
record from.
well just for your sake for reviewing and just developing your eye and your sense of what you're shooting for, that if your primary tools are going to be Zoom and your phone, then you should just see what just maximize the use of those. But that's hard for you to do when you don't have a record of the tests, um, so you could um, try and think of how, I mean, you could use OBS to do that, but then you have to learn OBS. So um, but I'm trying to think
I've been working on that.
if you could, so if you could, this is how you could use those three bits to kind of um, work on figuring out how it is and what it is you want to do. Is you would use your phone going to Zoom, and then you would capture the Zoom into OBS and just record it with OBS, like, and then it saves it as a video file, and then you could review the files. So like if you're committed to doing this stuff at night, you go out at night and you do a bunch of stuff and you record it, and then you review it the next day. And the thing is, it doesn't matter. Um, like you could be at your computer in the shop, right? You set up your Zoom connection, and you just have your phone pointed at who cares what, just inside the building, and you get it framed the way you want it, and all that's good to go. And then you just hit start recording in OBS, and then you just go outside and do whatever, and it'll record until you say stop recording. Um, because it's capturing that screen, whatever's coming in on that screen, and then so you don't have to be. I mean, you can do that all yourself. You don't have to be at your computer. You just get it all set up, hit record, then go out and do whatever you're doing, and come back in and stop recording, and then you have your recording of your experiments. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I'll give it a try.
Yeah. Um, and so when I'll tell you uh, one pro tip, when you do the window capture in Zoom, it needs to be open in a separate window, and then you do window capture and you capture the Zoom window, and it's going to get everything in that window, which you're not going to want. So you have to to crop it, and the way to do it in OBS is you select it and then you hold down the Alt key. Oh shoot, I don't know how to do it on a Mac. Option key. You hold down the Option key, and then that allows you to crop that image inside OBS. So you only are actually capturing the part of the zoom window that you want.
Okay, I'll try it.
And then you're good to go. And then you can, that way you can do a lot of, I mean, because, you know, in 15 minutes, you can try a lot of different things, right? And as long as you're keeping organized and keeping a list of, I mean, you don't even need to know what the times are. You just go, first thing I did was this, second thing I did was this. And then when you're watching it, you'll know, oh, this worked. No, 2 and 3 didn't work, but 4 worked really good. And that's how you start narrowing it down. So, but right now you got 34 minutes of video to watch plus the other 4 minutes. I'm gonna stop this. Did
Yeah.
I can